Whether we believe in our capacity for self-government or whether we abandon the American Revolution and confess that a little intellectual elite in a far distant capital can plan our lives for us better than we can plan them ourselves. You and I are told increasingly we have to choose between a left or right. Well, I'd like to suggest there is no such thing as a left or right. There's only an up or down.
It has been long overdue to expose the truth that the Democrats and Republicans are sucking the life out of America's liberty and usurping our rights at every turn. Now is the time to seize our civil liberties and take back our individual rights. Here on Southern Liberty, we will expose it all. With his musket on his back, the Declaration of Independence in one hand, and the Constitution in the other, here's your host, Roderick Threets.
Welcome to the weekend, Southern Liberty. I mean, look, this weekend should be better than the last weekend. Might be better than the weekend following. I'm just saying. I don't know. I'm just talking out of my mouth right now because that's what I do. But I wanna start off the show. Those folks you call friends, close associates, family even, hold them dear and close. And I know this is the same song and dance that we hear all the time, right? But by God, you know what? I'm tired of hearing it. I'm tired of hearing this same thing all it's almost it feels good to say it, but people never follow through with it, right? When you say someone is your friend, your associate, your family, you check in with your family. You talk to your family, right? Let's go on down the maypole with this one. Right? And even when we're talking about just any type of relationship, it's romantic, right? If you're not interested in that relationship, you should say, no, I'm not interested in that type of relationship with you, either platonic or romantic. Don't allow people to put in effort to get your attention, right? Only to find out that you've rejected them on a silent note and went somewhere else, right? That's very selfish of you. Pursue your attention and you don't say anything back to them at all. Rather, you don't like it or like it at all. That's your selfishness. Yeah, I'm holding you all to account on this one. Stop your own ego because someone else is depleting their ego. If you consider that, and going back, if you consider person family, you consider that person, you need to always stay in contact with them. I don't want to get into the relationship aspect of it. I just want to talk personal friends, right? And I say that this is going to lead into a couple things we're going to talk about right at the top. And I was going to talk about something else, but just hit me as I turned on the microphone. It's like I need to say something about this, right? Earlier this month, I found out that one of our longtime listeners in the chat, you known her as Lady Cherry. She passed away on the 5th of March. She went into the ER with chest pains. They found out she had a blocked artery. They went to operate on her. And they lost her heartbeat about an hour into the surgery. 42 years old, people. 42. Most of us are just getting prime at 42. Look, 42 is the new 21, right? First 21 years of your life, you're learning, you're leading up to being an adult. You're learning through adolescence. You're learning the life changes, negative and positive, right? You're learning really right from wrong, what jives and what doesn't jive in our society. And then the next 21 years, you become an adult and you grow as an adult. By the time you hit 40, the jig should be already up. You should already know where you're at in your life, what fits and doesn't fit. A few conformities here or there. But by the time you hit 40, you are actually starting to live. Because you understand the axioms of life. Most people don't even get to enjoy that. Like this young lady. Because of a health mishap. Make it happen to any one of us overnight. Any one of us. At the snap of a finger. Because we don't have an internal monitor to monitor every single organ, every single vein in our body. To see what it's doing, what's growing in there. If we good, God, I tell you what, healthcare people be out of business. She was family. She was loved by everybody that she came in contact with. Even the ones that hated her still loved her. And there's always people that come along later. And I'm not going to call any names, any of that. That's not my place. So, oh God, we haven't talked in so long. We just, people came up with excuses why they hadn't talked to her for a long period of time. And I'll be damned. Save your platitudes for someone that gives a damn. Because if you cherish that person while they were alive, right, you wouldn't be sitting there asking for some sort of forgiveness because you failed to reach out and have contact with somebody, even 5 minutes in a damn day. 5 minutes. If that person was that important to you, you got 5 minutes. You got 5 minutes. 5 when you wake up, 5 when you go to sleep, 5 on your lunch break. You got 5 minutes. Most cars nowadays, you can speak to the car and have it text for you. You can talk to Siri and have it text for you. You can talk to Siri and have it make a phone call for you while you driving. Ain't no excuses anymore in 2023 why you can't stay in contact with people that you claim you love. There is no excuse. Zero. And there's also no excuse how you treat people. There's no excuse. The way we treat each other in this country is shit. And I'm just saying in general. I'm not saying y'all personally. I'm saying in general, when it comes to our politics, we treat each other like shit. In the political sphere, we treat people like shit so much. When a person of the opposition dies, and I don't mean from right to left, I mean from left to right, they wish that person would have died a long time ago. That's the piece of kind of shit that needs to stop. The total disrespect of humankind in your eyes, but yet want to do for humankind. Shut the fuck up. Pulling your ass to the fucking carpet too. To wish someone was dead is almost like wishing your own mama to be dead. I get we have our preferences of people who we rather hang around with. But this country is a place where we live and get along. Regardless of our political differences, regardless of our religious differences, we're supposed to get along for the betterment of the country and not let anything split us. But we let these bastards in Washington, D.C. split us on partisan lines, religious lines, age lines, disability lines, and any kind of line they can come down with. You allow them to split us, and then you want to use it as a weapon to point it against other people to make them feel bad. You guys that do that shit are pieces of shit. You're pieces of shit, and I wouldn't pick you up off the side of the road if the ordinance said I had to. I would leave your ass down there to ossify. Shit needs to stop. Now we're talking about platonic and romantic relationships. Look. Don't let someone try to entertain you and you ignore them. Right? You know, someone is trying to get your attention for you to entertain them. I think the conscience says you owe them some sort of answer. I know some people say they don't deserve an answer. Yeah, they do deserve an answer. Because if you're going to continue to go down the road and let this person just vie for your attention, they now they become stalkerish. No, the person cannot become a stalker if you have not given them a reason not to be a stalker. Listen at what I'm telling you. And some of you women going to be offended when I say this, but I'm calling the truth. You can ignore him all you want to. He's going to find another way to try to talk to you because he's interested in you in some sort of way. That doesn't make him a creep. That makes him a pursuant. That doesn't make him a stalker. It makes him a pursuant. Now, if you give him an answer and you say, no, I don't want your advances, then it becomes stalking. Then it becomes stalking if he continues. This kid up here, Johns County, Florida, 14-year-old kid got sentenced to life in prison for stabbing a 13-year-old girl in her back 100 times because she wouldn't pay him any attention. There has been men in United States history that have shot women because they wouldn't pay them any attention. They completely ignored them for years, and they had been fed up because they were being ignored. Yes, granted, some of it's on the damn man. Some of it is on the man to control himself, but at the same time, you can't give him the inkling of that he has a chance by not acknowledging him. He's going to continue till he gets your attention. Because again, society has told us that men need to pursue women, not the other way around. The man is doing what he's programmed to do, right? The man's doing what he's programmed to do. Now he's a stalker because he's doing what he's programmed to do. And gentlemen, if she says no, you need to back the fuck up. You need to back all the way the fuck up. Like, you need to go back to zero. Not go back to one, go back to start. You need to go back to zero. Because unless you want a cap in your ass, you want a big brother or a daddy chasing after you with a shotgun or a crowbar, you better back all the way the fuck up when she says no. You need to back all the way up. Here's the other side of that from my men folk. I know this is kind of political chat, but I'm in another realm. I'm in another realm right now. Listen, men, if that woman doesn't respond to you in 1 or 2 times, leave her the fuck alone. It's not worth your mental health of committing suicide over some woman, over some potential relationship, than you to keep pursuing something she ain't going to respond to. Just remember, when she comes back, oh, I didn't see this. No, fuck off. Tell her to fuck all the way to fuck off. That's it. You can't allow another human being to control your emotions, control your psyche out here in these streets. You can't do it. You are responsible for yourself. You are responsible for yourself. So stop running around here and chasing these women around like you've been programmed to, because you've been programmed incorrectly. Thinking that's the macho thing to do, to have 10, 12 women in your phone and call them all the time. But you'll call a woman a whore if she has 10, 12 men in her fucking phone. You'll call her a fucking whore. Huh? What's good for the goose, good for the gander. This is why we need to have that equal treatment across the board here. If you don't like him, ladies, let him know right from the jump so he ain't continuing on, and you can see the manifest of a stalker coming at you. Right? Because some of us men folk ain't wound too tight. I'm tell you right now, I know some of us ain't wound too tight. And even if you give us a string to wind the top up, they still ain't going to wind up tight enough. But men folk, you need to hold your scruples about yourself. Because your mental health is on you. Because if you let someone that's not interested in you break your psyche, you ain't no good for the next one. You ain't no good for the next one that comes along that may want to be interested in you or be with you. You will be a broken person over a person that never had it in the first place.
And on the flip side of the coin, ladies, the same goes for you. Don't keep chasing his ass. If he's not interested, he's not interested. He's just not that into you. Don't keep stalking him. Because I can guarantee you there are some women out there who do that. And it gets ugly. It gets ugly as hell. Have a little self-respect, y'all. If that person doesn't want you, go look somewhere else, because you know what, honey? There are other fish in the sea. Plenty of other fish in the sea.
Chicken of the sea? Shit. I'm talking about.
We're not going to go quite there, but you know what I mean.
But, and all that within circumstance, right? All that within circumstance, right? You can't take that with every single block and every single day.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
People live and go through things on a daily basis. Right?
Well, they do. And the fact of the matter is there are some people who have gotten to the point where they won't take no ever for an answer. Sumter, several here, night before last. Woman's ex-husband came to her house, shot and killed her boyfriend who was outside the house, came into the house. She was chasing him. He went upstairs where her children were sleeping. Her 3 kids, his 3 kids were sleeping. These were the husband's kids, not the boyfriend's. I'm sorry, ex-husband's. He shot and injured her as she was chasing him up the stairs. She didn't have her cell phone on her, couldn't call 911, so she ran outside to get the boyfriend's cell phone. By the time she turned around, there were shots being fired upstairs in the kid's bedroom. He had shot the boyfriend, he had shot 3 kids, and himself. 4 people dead because one man couldn't take the word no.
Right.
And if you're that much of a shit that she's already divorced you and taken the kids out of the house, that is a seriously hard no.
Yeah. But that reels back to tell us, right, that
Yeah.
we need to start treating each other better.
Yeah, we do.
In every aspect.
Yeah, we do.
We need to start treating each other better in every aspect of the word. Treat each other better.
Yes.
Because we're the, I mean, we can say, you know, like I sat here and said, right, we own our own mental facilities, right? We own our own mental agency, right? But
Yeah.
at the same time, the way people react to us, the things they say to us, they say, you know, we can sit here and say sticks and stones.
Yeah.
Right. You can sit here and say sticks and stones, but you know what? Let's keep that shit all the way real, right? If you keep, if men, especially men, I'm only going to speak from the male side of things because I know what the type of shit men do, right? If a man sits there and tells this woman she's fat, she's overweight, she's ugly, this, that, and the third, what is she going to do? She's going to try to ignore it. She's going to try to ignore it, but then it fucks her psyche up to the point where she becomes bulimic. She becomes anorexic, Karen Carpenter, right? She becomes that to please you. To please you, she becomes bulimic, anorexic, sick, and all that stuff to please you. So words do matter. Words do hurt in the context they're being used in.
Especially in a relationship, because then it's not just hurtful, it's mental abuse. It's psychological abuse at that point. And it melds over into the physical.
Yep.
Because if someone's willing to say that, they're willing to come to blows over it.
Yep, they sure will. 100%. 100%. And it's all narcissistic behavior. Yeah, all of it is narcissistic behavior.
It is. And it may not happen today. It may not happen tomorrow. But 6 weeks down the road, guess what? You're going to find that man's fist in your face.
Yeah. Sadly enough, yes. Sadly enough, that's where it's at.
Or, and I'm going to say this because it does happen, or that woman's fist in your face.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Narcissistic behavior is not relegated just to the world of men.
Right.
Women do the same damn thing.
Yeah.
It's just men aren't willing to speak out about it often enough.
No, because they're chastised for, oh, you got beat up by a girl. Well, you know what? Some men are taught not to hit a woman back, and I can respect that 100%.
Exactly.
Because we understand that we are almost 10 times stronger than a woman in most cases, right? Unless she's a bodybuilder, but that's an exception to the rule, right?
Yep.
Right? But
here I am flexing my arms.
It's one of those things is, men folk need to step up and say, hey, I'm being treated like shit. The one video I posted on TikTok, on my Sigma Life TikTok, where the guy had been in this abusive marriage for 3 years. This woman was throwing glass at him, cast iron skillets, trying to break shit over his head, whole 9 yards. And he wouldn't touch her. You could hear the fear in this man's voice because this woman was psychotic.
That's attempted murder.
Yeah, this woman was psychotic.
Yeah, I would say so.
Right? And he finally gets away, and you know what his family does? His family tells him he should have stayed. He should have. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? No one deserves to be beaten, assaulted, or anything while cohabitating with anyone. I don't care if you're gay or whatever.
Yeah,
you deserve.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
You deserve to be safe in the relationship. You deserve to be safe in your own home.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter who the aggressor is. That aggressor doesn't belong there.
Right.
And you don't belong with an aggressor.
That's exactly correct. But that all comes back. That goes back to narcissistic behavior and the mistreatment of each other.
Yes, it does.
Right. And the gains that people get from these things, right, is sick and disgusting and gross and I can run down through there for a minute, but I don't want to get too far derailed, right? Mm-hmm. The thing is the people we consider friends, the people we consider family, right?
Yeah.
You need to check in with them more than once a month.
Yeah.
Right. You need, you know what I mean? You need to make sure that you as a person is doing the best that you can to be available to people, to speak to you if they are in need. Yeah. Right? We can't remain closed off so much that we end up living in a life of regret because maybe your words could have helped that person.
Yeah. You know, I had a friend in high school who continually tried to suicide over a guy. She ended up marrying him and having kids with him.
Oh, shit.
And here, I guess it's been about 15, almost 20 years ago now. She ended up having a stroke and was in the hospital. And he filed for divorce on abandonment grounds because she was in the hospital after having a stroke.
Oh, shit.
That is narcissism. Pure narcissism.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to say, it was narcissism on both sides.
Agreed.
Because she continually chased him day after day after day after day.
Yep. Yep. It wasn't going to end in anything good if that's that much. If the pursuit was more valued than the actual holding of the object, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, you know, to some people the pursuit is worth more than the gain. Unfortunately, when you're talking about a person's soul, when you're talking about their heart, when you're talking about their psyche, that's not something to be hunted.
No.
That's something to be cherished.
Mm-hmm. You know what's funny? I wanna before you want to hear something funny?
Sure, I could look after this week. I could use a laugh on each other. It's been a rough week.
Check this out. We're gonna swing over in the political now. We're gonna get off the soapboxes a second. Joe Biden, check this out. Joe Biden puts out a press release the other day. 5 alarm fire. Check this out. He says the extreme MAGA Republican House Freedom Caucus has made their priorities clear, imposing devastating cuts to public safety and increasing costs for working and middle-class families, all to protect and extend tax breaks skewed to the wealthy and big corporations. In fact, their tax cuts would be so expensive that their deep, harmful cuts would not reduce the deficit.
Okay.
No, wait, hold on. Oh, Joe Byron is a liar. Mm-hmm. Come on, man. What one day the folks talking about defund the polices?
Yeah, supposedly that's all Republican now. It's the extreme MAGA Republicans that want to defund the police. Yeah.
It's the extreme MAGA Republicans. Ooh. Yeah. Ooh. See, and here's check this out. Here is what Joe Biden referenced, right? In his White House briefing, his White House press release he released, right? The Freedom Caucus released saying, "Shrink Washington, grow America." The members of the House Freedom Caucus will consider voting to raise the debt ceiling contingent upon enacting of legislation to cut current spending by ending President Biden's $400 billion student loan bailout, rescinding all unobligated, unspent COVID-19 funds, recouping the $80 billion in IRS expansion funds. Wait, let me repeat that again. Recouping the $80 billion in IRS expansion funds, as well as billions of wasteful climate change spending in the so-called Inflation Reduction Act, and finding every dollar spent by Democrats that can be reclaimed for the American taxpayer. Cap future spending by settling top-line discretionary spending at fiscal year 2022 level for 10 years, allowing for 1% annual growth. Doing so will cut $131 billion in fiscal year 2024 and save roughly $3 trillion over the long term by cutting the wasteful, woke, and weaponized federal bureaucracy. Furthermore, this enables Congress to use the appropriations process to address the many abuses and disasters caused by the Biden administration, such as chaos at the southern border, COVID vaccine mandates and discrimination policies, and the unconstitutional pistol brace ATF rule. Importantly, 10-year spending caps at the fiscal year 2022 level puts our budget on the path to balance while protecting Social Security, retirement, and medical benefits. Growing the economy by enacting major policy changes and reforms to the wasteful, woke, and weaponized federal bureaucracy, including but not limited to curtailing burdensome regulations by requiring congressional approval under the REINS Act, unleashing the production of reliable domestic energy by ending federal regulations and subsidies, restoring Clinton-era work requirements on welfare programs, and passing a preemptive continuing resolution on non-defense discretionary spending restored by the pre-COVID fiscal year 19 level to force Congress to pass appropriations in a timely manner. Where in there did
I didn't see nothing about defunding the police. I didn't see nothing about defunding the police.
But wait. I
don't see anything unreasonable in it either.
What tax breaks, bruh?
I think the tax breaks he's talking about are the ones that Trump put out.
Look.
You know, the ones that brought in all those extra billions of tax dollars.
Yeah. See, this is what Biden said. Biden says that his budget, which invests in America, lowers costs for families, protects and strengthens Medicare and Social Security, and reduces the deficit by $3 trillion over 10 years, while ensures no one making less than $400,000 per year pays a penny more in new taxes. Stop playing with me.
I have a question about the $3 trillion. I'm just going to stick on that for a moment. How does a budget that's going to cost you $81 trillion added to the debt, in other words, it'll add enough to cause the debt to be $81 trillion, I think it's 81, at the end of 10 years, save you $3 trillion?
Well, here's the thing.
How does that work when you're adding that much money? You're adding 50 some odd trillion dollars to save $3? That doesn't make any financial sense at all.
Well, we have to remember, right? Well, okay, so I think we need to nip this. Hold on. Dry throat. Okay, so we have to remember, okay, that there is a difference between there's a difference between debt and deficit.
Yes.
Right? Because we remember the deficit is the annual difference from government spending between government spending and government revenue. Right?
Yeah.
Now the debt itself, right, is what we owe. Right.
That's the overall.
Right.
Okay, so what I'm talking about is the deficit. Okay.
Right.
What I'm talking about is the deficit, because right now we're sitting at what, 31, almost $32 trillion? By the end of the year, they're assuming it's going to be almost 33.
Yeah. Well, no, that's the debt, not the deficit.
Okay.
That's the debt.
So
that's how much we owe.
It's one of those things. It's a D word and it's math. I don't know.
It's math. It's maths. MAFFS. Maths.
It's maths, and I don't get it. I am not a CPA, guys.
Okay, so
what I'm saying is if his budget is implemented, it will take that up.
Right. Well, it'll take the debt up. Correct. Now, right now, our current deficit, according to the MTS data set, is $476 billion. That's our deficit.
Yeah.
Right? That's where we need more money. Basically, we need to balance that out to run government efficiently.
And unfortunately, government has never run efficiently.
Hello.
And part of the reason for that is the unfunded liabilities that they don't count in that number.
Yeah. Part of that is correct. That is correct. So we're looking. I'm going to look it up right now. See where our deficit is for 2023. Okay, last quarter 2022, our current deficit narrowed to $206 billion. The below market forecast $213.2 billion.
Mm-hmm.
So to put it in contrast, considering the full 2022, the current account deficit widened by 97.4 billion to 943.8 billion. It is the equivalent of 3.7% of current dollar GDP. Whew. Damn. Yeah. Talking about deflating the dollar. And that's the current GDP dollar, which is different than the regular, but we're not going to get into the whole financial crap.
We're not going to get into the whole financial thing. I just know that we've lost 10% of the dollar's value over the last, 3 months?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, about that.
Yeah. And we've got banks crumbling everywhere. Deutsche Bank today, they didn't go down completely, but they lost a hell of a lot in stock value.
Right. So here, listen to this. Listen to this one. The current dollar GDP increased 9.2% to 2.15 trillion in 2023. In 2022, to a level of 25.46 trillion compared to the increase of 10.7% or 2.25 trillion in 2021. Whew.
Yeah.
Bam. Anyways,
let's just turn the print presses back on.
No, they want to do it digitally. Stop. They want to do it digitally.
It's basically the same damn thing.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, because that's what they're doing now. It's all digitized. They just added another $2 trillion into the economy. And he wants to come out with this damn budget. Really?
Look at this. Look at this. I'm on the Twitter feed right now. I pulled up the Twitter feed for the House Freedom Caucus, right? And I'm reading what Joe Byron referenced, right? Listen to this.
Okay.
So, and you can tell the bias, right? This one person, and I'm gonna call their name D. Their screen name is DXENA2, right? They say you've got to love how maggots use propaganda and doublespeak to mean the exact opposite of what they're doing. Freedom Caucus equals fascist caucus, where you are only free to agree with the right-wing extremist. I guess they took Joe Byron's speech at Independent Talk with the Red and Black very seriously.
I'm thinking so.
Another person says, if you have a private jet, the Republican Party is for you. I guess. I guess.
Really?
Look.
John Kerry sound familiar?
Look here. I know Joe Biden has a private jet. You know what I'm saying? Like. So I guess your Democrat friends, Miss Joan of Snake, also has they're Republicans too. Your party's falling apart.
Dear Democrats, John Kerry, Al Gore, Barack Obama, Hillary and Bill Clinton, they all have private jets.
Right. Listen what this person is, or their Dotson Lover 7, right? Listen to this. Okay. You already know where you can stick your extreme conditions. The debt ceiling is paying past debt. Money already spent, so it's not non-negotiable as it was for every Trump year. The people will not allow you to hold POTUS hostage. What the fuck?
Okay, let me put it this way. If it's paying off our past debts, stop spending so much damn money.
Hello? Hello?
I mean,
It's gotta
that's the whole
stop
point
somewhere.
behind this battle. It has to stop somewhere. We cannot continue to spend money like it's going out of fucking style. Because that's exactly what's happening. Oh, yeehaw, we're in Congress. We can spend what we want because it's not ours.
Right. Oh, check it out. Another person says Scott. His screen name is May967873. He says, can't take you seriously when you allow Trump to blow up the deficit prior to COVID hitting. What?
Oh, jeez.
Oh my God! Like, it's funny. It's all the people. Here's the thing: there's no Republicans responding on this thread.
Of course not. They're doing the same thing I am. They're rolling their damn eyes at this point because it's like, you know what? You can't talk any sense into people.
Right.
You can't debate them. You can't debate them. You can't bring up a different point because if you do, you get called a racist because they can't argue the point.
Mm-hmm.
Or you get called a maggot or a Trumpian or whatever they're gonna say about you because they cannot argue the point.
Oh, the federal court. Those of y'all that are federal employees, a federal court just slapped down Biden's vaccine mandate. Just slapped it down. The opinion was just handed down 2 hours ago.
Sweet.
Yep. Fifth Circuit.
Nice.
Fifth Circuit upheld the lower court's ruling to toss out Biden's vaccine mandate. And we knew, the thing is we knew what was going to happen. And this is why they do this, right? People have to understand, right? This is why we stand firm on what we believe in at all times, right? You can't fearmonger a liberty defender. You cannot fearmonger us into, doing something we don't want to do because we know how the process works. They will drag the process out, right? Until, look, that lawsuit went to court, last year? 2 years ago?
Yeah. Right around there. It was about a year and a half.
Yeah,
so,
when he signed it, when they signed him in, right? With the OSHA thing and all that. Here we are a year later, the Fifth Circuit of Appeals just said, no, lower court's ruling stands. That's it, right? Think about all the people, all the federal employees that had to be forced to get that jab in between then and now.
Yeah. Military, office workers, whatever, you know?
Yep. All those people.
Yeah. How many of them dropping like flies so far? I'm sorry, I had to ask. For a friend. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting battle over the next couple of months as far as the finances go here in the United States. Quite simply because, I'm sorry, I don't trust the Democrat Party with a single thin dime. Not one.
And I got a huge owl's eye on the Republicans for sure.
Absolutely. Because what they're going to do is they're going to try and spend it on frickin' wars.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly that. That's exactly it. But anyway, I wanted to bring that up before we went any further. But I do want to hit on real quick. We gotta. Was our break? Our break is in 15 on this one. Iranians attacked the U.S. base in Syria.
Yep. Imagine that.
What you thought was going to happen when they shook hands with Saudi Arabia?
Yep. Oopsie. Nobody saw that coming.
No, not a lick. Nope. Pew pew. Nope. We didn't see anything.
And what was this about our strategic defenses being down in that area?
Yeah. Yep.
Oopsie. Almost like we saw it coming.
Yeah.
And decided not to do a damn thing about it.
Yep. Yeah. So what are we trying to do? Drag Iran into a war, face up with the United States? But we're supposed to be doing a nuclear deal with Iran. Oh, no. Man, Iran's already got a nuke already pointing it. They're already pointing it at some U.S. interest.
Dear American government, your pants are down, your underwear's showing.
Yeah.
And it ain't too clean.
Yeah.
You know, it flat out amazes me. Especially because we just on Monday were discussing, what was it, Matt Gaetz, who introduced that bill about us pulling out of Syria?
Yeah.
Yeah. And all of a sudden, this happens. Isn't that a freaking miracle?
Mm-hmm.
So now we have, what, 1 killed and 5 injured? Seriously injured?
Mm-hmm. So my question is, right? My question is, they said Iranian proxy group. They won't name the proxy group, but you know what? I'm willing to go out on a limb and say it's Hezbollah.
I'm thinking. And that means it's not an Iranian proxy group. It's frickin' Iran.
Well, it's Iran. Yeah. I mean, because it is, because people. I've talked about Hezbollah before, but I'm gonna kind of run you down through there real quick, right? Hezbollah is a Lebanese Shia militia, right?
They are
that is backed by Iran.
Yeah, which means Iranian funded.
Right now, here's the crazy part. They're also supported by the Russians.
Oops.
So by sucking the Iranians back into Syria, you suck Russia back into Syria, right? These people ain't slick.
They're trying to spread the front out. They're trying to spread Russia's forces out.
Right.
Thin them out. Thinking that they can be taken that way. It's not going to work that way. You are now involving the BRICS nations, not just Russia.
That's right. Yep.
And they have mutual defense treaties in place.
Mm-hmm.
Which means you're also sucking in India and China.
Yep. That's right.
And Brazil.
Yep. I mean,
and believe it or not, South Africa, which they are no joke when it comes to military either.
No. Mm-mm. I mean, I just find it funny that NATO. I mean, but it's not funny. It's typical. And people in the United States, please understand this, right? Our government does the same things that its backers do. Right? Because we know by default, our government is a Democrat shadow government, regardless if a Democrat's in office or Republicans in office. It's a Democratic or progressive shadow government that is running this country.
I would say progressive more than Democrat.
Right? Now, with that being said, right, we know NATO. We know the UN is a progressive political organization. We know the NATO is the military force behind the political agenda of the UN, right? Mm-hmm. Now, and we know the WHO is the medical arm, the medical influence of the UN to impose their will upon the world. So, now with that being said, why does it so happen, right? Why does it so happen that the UN, NATO, I'm going to say United States in particular, always backs the bad guy, trying to make the bad guy look good? Like, I think some people need to come to age on what the people in our country, right, are doing and using our men and women in uniform to perpetuate their evil and one-sided agenda.
Gee, Mr. Chamberlain, what do you think? Because this isn't the first time. This has happened time and time and time again. Happened in World War I, happened in World War II, happened in Korea and Vietnam. It's happened in Iraq, Afghanistan. It's happening now.
Mm-hmm.
And we're drag kicking and screaming into something we don't need to be involved in.
Yeah. I mean, look.
Spending our blood and treasure rather than the rest of the world spending theirs because they wanted this.
Look, and again, we talk about the UN, NATO, right? Backing Ukraine, Nazis, right? We're backing Nazis, right?
Yep.
Hmm? Let's look at the Syrian civil war a little bit closer. And people do your own research on this. Mm-hmm. I know I hate that word research, but I want people to look at what I'm saying to get a grasp on what I'm talking about, right?
Trust but verify, yes.
Right. See, we are backing the NATO countries, right? The NATO countries are backing, and the particular ones, the ones that are actually doing it, right, is the United States, Canada, the UK, France, the Netherlands, and Iraqi Kurdistan. No, only in Syria. Poland's not in Syria.
Poland's not in Syria. My bad.
Right.
My bad.
They're not in Syria. Right.
I kept thinking Ukraine for some reason.
And those groups form what's called CJTF, right, or Combined Joint Task Force Operations Inherent Resolve is what that means. Okay. Right. Now, with that being said, right, they're back at the Syrian Democrat forces. Now, let's look at this a second, right? You have the YPG. You've heard me talk about the YPG before, right? That's the People's Protections Units, right? We also have the YPJ, which is the women's division of YPG, right? And we have YAT, right, which are the anti-terror units. They're like a special forces unit that does surveillance, kind of like a Spetsnaz or a Green Beret unit that we trained. We trained.
Yes, we did.
YAT.
Yep.
To go to try to surveil and potentially assassinate Assad, but I didn't say that out loud.
No, of course you
that
didn't.
assassination
Didn't we train
attempt.
Him at Bragg?
We did try. We did train YAT at Bragg. We damn sure did.
That's what I thought.
We trained them at Bragg.
Oops.
For real.
Is that right?
I'm just saying. And these guys, all they've done, right? And the United States has propped up Assad as being a Putin lackey or Erdogan lackey, right? When these people leave us the fuck alone.
Yeah.
We're going to do our own shit while y'all get in. The United States has always sided with the bad guy. Look, we sided with the Mujahideen that turned into Al Qaeda that attacked us. Then the Mujahideen, the Al Qaeda, they kind of did the split. Then the Taliban. Then the Taliban, they don't like us. They say, okay, Taliban, we get along with you, Taliban. We release people from Guantanamo, and then no one knows what happened. There's no Taliban
Except
in Guantanamo.
they finding them on the battlefield again. You know,
they find them on the battlefield. Yeah, no, not at all. How'd they get out of Guantanamo? Oops. Oh, yeah, he got out 6 months ago, the press release. You didn't catch that? Oh, yeah, the one you slid under the radar, right? Yeah, that one. While we were talking about COVID shots, you released a 9/11 co-conspirator out of your Guantanamo Bay. Come on now.
Did I do that?
No, you did all that, Mr. Biden. All that. And we going to hold you to it. We got to...
His response would be pudding.
Eddie, that's all, folks.
Pretty much.
We got to
start calling him Elmer.
We got to pay some bills real quick, so y'all know what to do. Cheese, wine, and crackers, do the thing. We'll be back here with a few more stories, a little discussion. We're going to open up the phone lines, and we're going to take it cruise on out to that 2-hour mark. So y'all stand by, stay tuned here for Southern Liberty. We'll be back here in 6.
I'm Lauren Simonetti, and this is the Fox Business Report. Stocks ending higher for the day and week, even as worries over the global banking system lingered. On Friday, the focus was on one of Europe's biggest lenders, Deutsche Bank. Its stock tumbled after the price of its credit default swaps jumped. The Dow rising 132 points, the Nasdaq up 37, S&P 500 up 22. And shares of Activision Blizzard, one of the biggest gainers in the S&P 500, after a leading UK regulator dropped some of its concerns with the potential purchase of the company by Microsoft. And shares of Netflix continuing their rally amid building optimism for the streaming service giant's password-sharing crackdown. Netflix is in the process of clamping down on an estimated 100 million people. The move represents a financial opportunity if the company is able to convert password sharers into paying subscribers, but it also carries the risk that some existing subscribers will flee. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Hillary Barsky, invested in you.
The Fearless and Proud podcast series looks at acts of bravery and strength by women. March is Women's History Month, and in this first season, we look at women who played important roles in the Civil War as soldiers, spies, and nurses. We'll discuss famous examples of women pretending to be men to become soldiers and spies on both sides. Subscribe and listen now at foxnewspodcast.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
This is a Fox News alert. There were two targets, Simon Silicera. The Pentagon now says there were two new separate attacks by Iranian proxy forces in eastern Syria targeting two separate U.S. bases. One was a rocket attack. The other involved multiple reported Iranian drones. This comes after an attack yesterday. They killed a U.S. contractor and wounded 5 service members in northeast Syria.
A senior U.S. defense official tells Fox the air defense system that should have protected the base was not operational at the time of the Iranian drone attack, allowing it to crash into the base. U.S. officials say that radar was working and they had a complete site picture at the time of that attack. They simply did not have time to react.
Fox's Jennifer Griffin at the Pentagon. President Biden in Canada, where he's now attending a gala dinner alongside Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. Earlier, he addressed Parliament and discussed the U.S. and Canada's agreement when it comes to Ukraine.
Our unity is not going to break. We're going to keep the pressure on Putin through our historic sanctions and tariffs, and we're going to continue to provide Ukraine with training, equipment, humanitarian assistance it needs, and to defend itself against Russian aggression.
The President and Prime Minister Trudeau also discussed a new border policy beginning at midnight tonight, where any irregular border crossers will be returned to the nearest U.S. port of entry with the United States. There are reports of a mass casualty human smuggling incident that has happened in a train car in Texas. At least 2 migrants are reportedly dead, 14 in critical condition after a group of migrants were found in the train car in a small town east of Uvalde. The Manhattan District Attorney's Office says a powdery substance was found with a threatening letter in a mailroom at the offices of District Attorney Alvin Bragg, who's investigating former President Trump. America is listening to Fox News.
Here's what's trending now. You can defer payments of a full NetSuite implementation for 6 months. 33,000 companies have already upgraded to NetSuite, gaining visibility and control over their financials, inventory, HR, e-commerce, and more. Everything they need to reduce manual processes, boost efficiency, build forecasts, and increase productivity. Whether your business generates millions or hundreds of millions of dollars, take advantage of this special financing offer of no payments or interest for 6 months at netsuite.com/Fox. That's netsuite.com/Fox.
The hit-and-run death of a family friend of convicted South Carolina murderer Alec Murdaugh is raising renewed suspicion.
Fox News has obtained documents from the South Carolina Highway Patrol indicating that those initial investigators at the crime scene were in disagreement with the medical examiner over the cause of death. A Highway Patrol official, unnamed in the document, says the local coroner immediately said he believes Stephen Smith had died from a gunshot wound, quote, pointing to the entry point to the head and also a defensive wound to the hand. I then asked for clarity if they were sure it was a homicide, and their response was yes.
Fox's Jonathan Serri. The coroner changed the cause of death to hit and run less than 10 hours later, citing conclusions from the medical examiner who mentioned the body's location on the road and lack of any bullet fragments. A judge has ruled parents cannot be required to pull their children from private schools in New York that fail to meet state-designated standards. The ruling comes in response to a lawsuit brought by ultra-Orthodox Jewish schools and related groups over education rules enacted last fall. Opponents in the ultra-Orthodox community say the rules improperly target yeshivas. A new poll finds Americans are pessimistic about the future.
An overwhelming share of Americans have dim hopes for the future, according to a new Wall Street Journal NORC poll, which shows most doubt their children's lives will be better than their own. Growing skepticism about the value of a college education and record low levels of overall happiness helping lift that sentiment to 78%, the highest share since the survey began asking the question in 1990. White respondents were more likely to say they're not confident than Black and Hispanic ones, and 4 in 5 respondents also described the state of the economy as not so good or poor, and nearly half said they expect it will get worse in the next year.
Fox's Lillian Wu, I'm Lisa Lacera. This is Fox News.
Do you want to know what's trending now? You can defer payments of a full NetSuite implementation for 6 months. No payments and no interest for 6 months. This is a big deal. NetSuite by Oracle has never made an offer like this in its 22 years as the leading cloud financial system. 33,000 companies have already upgraded to NetSuite, gaining visibility and control over their financials, inventory, HR, e-commerce, and more. Everything they need to reduce manual processes, boost efficiency, build forecasts, and increase productivity across every department. In fact, almost 90% of finance leaders agree that NetSuite helps them reduce manual data entry time. Whether your business generates millions or hundreds of millions of dollars, take advantage of this special financing offer of no payments or interest for 6 months at netsuite.com/Fox. That's netsuite.com/Fox. netsuite.com/Fox.
Welcome back, Southern Liberty. Appreciate y'all for coming through as always. Make sure if you're not subscribed to this show, make sure that you are hitting up your web search and your phone search, your wherever you get your podcast search, wherever you feel like getting and listening, you type in that Southern Liberty and do the things. And when you do that, click on subscribe. I greatly appreciate it. I greatly appreciate it so much because it means a lot. It means a lot that those of you are out here and, love what we do. I love how we do it. So, Southern Liberty, search it, find it. Also, look for our Sunday show, Chasing Life, Liberty, and Monarchy. Search for that also. Catch that on the Spreaker too. Right. And if you want to catch the older episodes of The Experience Today, make sure you come through and you search for that and catch up on the older episodes of The Experience Today. And also the ones that will be on for up to 1 month on the Southern Liberty feed. So, got a plenty of choices to choose from. Make sure you do it. Do the subscribe thing. I do gotta say one thing. I gotta say one thing, Miss Kell. I gotta say one thing.
Okay.
Jamal Bowman. Now, Jamal Bowman is the representative. Okay. Mm-hmm. He's in the 16th district of New York. He's a Democrat.
Mm-hmm.
He's a Democrat. He called out his own party for xenophobia. Now, why did he do it? Talked about TikTok.
Yeah. And see, I missed most of those here. I caught part of it, and it's like, you people are ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Either ban it or don't.
Here's the thing. the federal government does not have the power to actually ban it.
No, they don't.
They can ban it on government devices. Now, are they going to claim everybody's phone a government device? They can try.
Yeah.
They can try, but it's not going to work because now you start throwing privacy, right? Here's the thing. Here's Representative Bowman.
Mm-hmm.
He actually he accused Senate Democrats who backed the ban of stoking xenophobia and hurting an estimated 150 million Americans who use the TikTok app. And because TikTok users tend to skew younger, he warned against provoking a backlash that could land disproportionately on the Democrat Party.
Yeah.
Representative Bowman goes on to say, what if those young voters stay home or go Republican? Young voters are the reason why we are able to keep things decent, almost even in 2022 in terms of the House. I disagree with that, but I digress.
Yeah, I would too.
But he's also said, right? I think that the politics of a TikTok ban are to do the right thing and protect our national security, said Senator Blumenthal. He also added that the Biden administration's new plan to force TikTok's Chinese owners to sell the app or be banned outright will be welcomed by everyone regardless of their age. I'm sorry. No. People want to talk about a fascist government. This is what fascist governments do. If we're based on free market, free trade, right?
Yep.
If you're going to uphold that, even though we're in a capitalist society, where our economy it's a mixed economy, right? But you're going to ban an app?
Well, I think Lori Trahan out of Massachusetts put it best, okay? She said that TikTok has become a proxy in the escalating tensions with China. Congress has a responsibility not to fall prey to tribalism or nationalism when it comes to tech policy. And she added, we know there are companies in the U.S. that want TikTok banned. I'm going to go back to the tribalism or nationalism thing and ask where that fire was when people wanted to ban Parler.
Yeah. They wanted to ban Parler. They wanted to ban Gab. They wanted to do, all that. They wanted to do all that.
Red Elephant.
Yep. Red Elephant.
I mean, it's one of those things where, okay, the government can't really ban it, but they can sway public opinion.
Right. That's correct.
And they've done it in the past.
Well, look what they did with Twitter. Look what you know what I'm saying?
Oh, God, yes.
What they've done with Google to have them manipulate the algorithm to show certain things. Like, come on now. These companies know what to do on cue.
Yeah.
Right? They get their marching orders right from the bully pit. Yep. Right from the bully pit. Yep. Oh yeah, we're going to go help Ukraine. Next thing you know, you look up Google, Alta Vista, Yahoo search engines. They all are talking about supporting Ukraine at that drop of a dime. They know their marching orders. They know their marching orders.
Okay, but it's not just companies like that. It's also NBC, ABC, CBS, even Fox, for crying out loud. Even Fox.
Here's some of the things that after the fact of that the CEO of TikTok came forward and said, and he's like, we're doing these things for national security. You know what one of their guidelines are? Check this out. You cannot report any news that has not been broken by any news outlet until they do.
Yeah.
What?
Yep. That is one of their things.
So citizen journalists,
I as a reporter cannot break news.
Right. That's correct.
Because I do not belong to a major media outlet.
Right. Right. Which is censoring, which that company is still participating in censoring of speech.
Censorship. Yep.
It's censorship in a different, it's still censorship either way you cut it. They just say, oh, we're going to do it this way. No, because of a major media outlet. See, and you know what? Here's the thing, right?
Yep.
This is going to, the people, a lot of, especially political TikTok, for both the Democrat and the Republicans that are staunch political reporters, pundits on TikTok, they will leave that application. Because a lot of times people get information from government that doesn't even make the media. You mean to tell me that information is going to be irrelevant and not put out there because of that?
Yeah.
Right? Like people that report on government, the media does not report completely solely on government.
No, they don't. Not at all.
They don't report it at all. Right? So those people, right, when they see like a statement from, let's say, the Freedom Caucus or the Progressive Caucus of the Democrat Party, or the Blue Dog Caucus of the Democrat Party, or whatever, whatever caucuses are putting out press statements, you can't put those up until they're verified by a media outlet. Cold Dan hell. So yeah, people should, the defection from the app should be enough for TikTok to actually go away.
Exactly. However, you have too many people who are using it as just an everyday platform. I mean, they're using it to show themselves dancing and putting on makeup and telling jokes and everything else. But for the most part, that will go away as well.
Yeah,
because there won't be any other content.
Right, because political TikTok is actually the engine that is running TikTok.
Yes, it is.
Right, that is what's getting people to come to the app.
Any social media.
So you take the politics out of it and the people reporting it out of it. No, that's it. The app is done. Yeah. It's done.
That is. And they basically did it to themselves.
That's
the funny part about it.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, you know, it's one of those things where we go from the government trying to ban things to the government saying, no, you can't ban things.
Right.
You know, the Illinois House just passed a bill prohibiting libraries from banning books due to partisan pressure. It's not partisan pressure to remove books from school libraries that are not age appropriate. That is not banning a book. That is saying it's not age appropriate. You'll have to go to the public library to check it out.
And look, they're tying funding to it.
Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah. Hey, that's Illinois, y'all.
Look, now. Here's the rundown, right, of that bill, right, and it only passed the House, thank God, right. But the rundown of this bill, right? It's going to be. It's hinging on that the state librarian prescribes rules concerning the development of written policy, declaring the inherent authority of the public library or library system to prohibit the practice of banning specific books or resources, provides that in order to be eligible for state grants, a public library or library system shall develop a written policy prohibiting the practice of banning books within the public library or library system. Now, if it's the public library system, here's the thing, right? When it comes to schools, the parents should be able to say what books goes in those libraries.
Yeah. Like I said, age appropriate is a completely different thing than banning a book.
Right. Now, now we're talking about the public library system. That's independent of the school library system.
There's where you're wrong. House Bill 2789, and I'm going to read directly from the article from ABC 7 up in Chicago.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Springfield.
Okay.
House Bill 2789 is an initiative of Democratic Secretary of State Alexi Giannalis, whose office oversees the Illinois State Library and administers several grant programs for public and school libraries, as well as adult literacy programs throughout the state. The bill would require that as a condition of qualifying for those grants in the future, libraries or library systems would have to adopt a written policy prohibiting the practice of banning books. Now, they are also talking, they go further down into the article about school districts and public libraries, not just public libraries. They are talking about not removing these books, such as genderqueer, from the schools. I'm sorry. There is a difference between banning and age appropriate. You know, there were certain books that we got hold of as kids, and I know you know this. There were certain books that we got hold of as kids that we could not find anywhere in the school libraries. People my age remember a book, I can't remember, I think it was a Judith Krantz book, Princess Daisy. And it's not nearly as lascivious as we all thought it was. But I can remember reading that in middle school. If we'd been caught, we'd have been kicked out of school.
Yeah, that's true.
But by God, we passed that booger around. This has been going on for years, y'all, and unfortunately, the state has no standing here. This should be all local. If the parents in that school district decide that that book should not be in their school library, let it stay in the public library. That's fine. But it doesn't belong in a school library.
No, it shouldn't. I mean, it completely that would completely usurp the whole parents being involved in education bit.
Mm-hmm.
It totally snatches that out of there.
Which isn't a surprise in Illinois. I mean, come on, they're trying to snatch authority wherever they can.
Right. So you must do this way.
Yeah, D.H. Lawrence's books. Val put that one in the chat.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. God, I haven't read that in a while. I mean, I sure as hell would not want to go in and see Carrie's Cushiel's Dart in the high school library. Are you kidding me?
Right.
That is X-rated.
Right. Yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, I agree. That's pretty X-rated.
Ooh, it's pretty out there. I do not want to see that in a public school library. I'm sorry.
No.
Or a private school library.
Right. It's not fit for child consumption. How about that?
Oh no, not at all. That's one of those that even Connor was forbidden to touch until he was after 21.
Check this out.
It's that bad.
Check this out, though. Watch this. Watch this shift, y'all. Speaking of children, how are asylum seekers crossing the northern border?
That's a good question.
How are asylum seekers crossing that are from south of the border, crossing the northern border?
Well, according to this, I love it. It said last year more than 39,000 asylum seekers crossed into Quebec outside official ports of entry, many of them using Roxham Road, a small road in northern New York that dead ends at the U.S.-Canada border. You ain't got a guard there? If you know it's there and you know it's being used, you ain't got a guard there?
Hey, look, we don't have border patrol at the open unofficial ports of entry on our border. Come on now,
right? You know, and I'm just going to kind of take it on a sideways track here just for a moment. They were talking about the border crossing numbers at the U.S. border, U.S. southern border. Oh yes, our numbers are down. No, your illegal border crossings are down. Your entries at the ports are up.
Yep. They're not telling you that. They don't want to mention that.
They don't want to mention that, but they're all asylees, and they're going to call them refugees now.
Right. Refugees.
Refugees from what? You live in the tropics, dude. You're going to Canada? Wow. I just... This is one of those things where I think that our government and Canada's government have bigger fish to fry. Shut down the southern border, shut down the northern border, no more issue. Get rid of the ones who have crossed in both countries, no more issue.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I just... They've modernized the Safe Third Country Agreement, but nobody's applying it.
Yeah, so now they've decided, oh, we're going to apply the third country rule.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, is that what we're doing now?
Yeah, they chose to modernize it. As part of the deal, Canada has also agreed to provide access to legal pathways for an additional 15,000 migrants per year from Latin America and the Caribbean, according to the Department of Homeland Security. Wow, isn't that generous? 15,000. We've had more than 1 million so far.
Something like that.
Just this fiscal year.
Mm-hmm. Something like that. Mm-hmm. I ain't gonna put on, something like that. No lie.
How generous of him. Oh, yeah, 15,000 migrants. Yeah, we might be able to fit them in somewhere. Give them a tent and put them out in the backcountry. Let them go.
I mean, where's the lie, though, right?
Hey, I'm just saying. You wanna make it here? Go ahead.
Well, see, here's what else they didn't tell you happened during that meeting. Here's what they didn't tell you. They got you saying, oh, yeah, we're going to give you guys Republicans a bone when it comes to immigration. But you know that Canada passed a bill very similar to our Inflation Reduction Act, which is nothing but a whole bunch of climate change.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Canada passed the bill. I'm trying to see what I'm trying to remember what it was called. Oh, the Emissions Reduction Plan.
Oh, okay.
Right? Because the Prime Minister and Joe Biden said that the Inflation Reduction Act and Canada's Emissions Reduction Plan as foundational elements to leading the clean energy future through robust clean energy industrial policies that help mobilize technological innovation, bolster resilient supply chains, strengthen our respective economies, and expand the middle class while keeping our environment healthy for future generations. Canada is moving forward with an enhanced plan to support a clean economy future, including with a new investment tax credit for clean technology manufacturing, in addition to tax measures that support clean hydrogen and clean technology adoption. As the implementation of these plans proceed, the United States and Canada will work together towards an integrated North American approach that benefits U.S. and Canadian workers, suppliers, and products. So, out of all of this, Canada, the United States, forms a Energy Transformation Task Force chaired by the U.S. Special Presidential Coordinator for Global Infrastructure and Canada's Deputy Prime Minister to work across the spectrum of clean energy. So, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that come out of that. But go ahead. Say what you gotta say.
How are you going to get solar panels to work up there?
Ah!
And I bring this up quite simply because I've been watching the solar panels around here. Y'all realize that there are an awful lot of pine trees in this area. And when the pines pollinate, it's nasty. It's a heavy, thick, yellow, neon green dust, okay? And it's sticky. Everybody who has solar panels on their roofs, now has that sticky yellow-green neon dust all over those solar panels. And it doesn't just wash off. You have to literally go up and scrub that mess off.
Pressure wash it lightly.
Yeah. Yeah, very lightly, because you don't want to damage the panels. But as much snow as they get up north, how are you going to get solar panels to work up there with all the pollen in the spring and summer and all the snow in the fall, winter, and early spring?
Can I?
How are you going to get wind turbines to run?
Hey, can I say I digress?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I digress. Because it makes no sense.
Yeah.
I mean, really anybody that is north of Virginia, solar panels are not going to do you any good. It really is.
Neither are wind turbines, honestly.
No.
There's not enough warmth in the air to generate that much wind on a regular basis.
Correct. And those of you environmental peoples and climate peoples, remember, wind is created when two different temperature masses collide with each other or go over the top of each other. Right? When cold and air, where cold and warm air meet, there will be wind always.
Yeah,
and
always.
You see that with severe storms. When you get tornadoes,
Yes.
it's the clash of extreme heat and extreme cold, or vice versa, to create.
Even with blizzards.
The blizzards, the same thing. Yeah, blizzards, the same thing. They clash, right? This is see. Here's something I thought about too, Miss Kell. Why do you think they do not talk about occluded fronts anymore?
That's a good question, and I hadn't even really thought about it.
Think about that a second, right?
Yeah,
because
we used to hear about that all the time.
In front of an occluded front was always severe storms. Occluded fronts always brought severe storms. Because remember, occluded front is a warm front merging into a cold front.
Yeah.
Right? It's a warm air mass catching up with a cold air mass, and in between the two fronts, the occluded area is where your severe storms are. Now, there are either warm fronts or cold fronts. What happened to the occluded fronts?
That's a great question.
Because they don't want you, and I kind of picked this out, right? They don't want you to figure out that the weather is not just one component.
Yeah. They don't want you to know that there are multiple facets to any weather system.
Right. Right. And when we're talking about climate change and severe storms, there's a cold front coming through. No, more than likely that's an occluded front. And you're not talking about the mass of cold or warm air that's in front of the actual cold front that's behind it, or warm front that is behind it.
Well, and they certainly don't want to talk about the El Nino forming off the coast of Peru.
No, they're sure not. But that's the thing, right? And when these people realize what these fronts mean, and then look at severe warnings, look at what's in front, like in this severe. And I want everybody to really think about this a minute, right? When you're in a severe weather warning area, pull up your phone and look at where the cold front is. Where is the cold front? And then look and watch the temperatures, right? After the cold front, like behind the cold front, in front of the cold front, and then look at the temperatures about 100 miles, 200 miles out from where the severe weather is. And you're going to see a change in weather. You're going to see a change in temperature in that cone area, that occluded area.
That occluded area.
Right.
Now, a really good example of this, and you live with this as well, the sea breeze. Okay? Yep. It's a great example of it, and it's on a much smaller scale.
Right.
When you have the sea breeze coming in off the ocean, it moves inland, and you can literally see the edge of the sea breeze as it comes in.
Yep.
Because 99% of the time, there are thunderstorms that come with it.
Look, Florida is literally a daily occluded front.
Yep,
it literally is. Because if you live on the coast, right, you get that nice sea breeze. But during the summer, what happens in Florida every summer? By 4 p.m., you have a rainstorm or a thunderstorm. Why? Because the ground is heated up. The air is heated up coming in from the west side, from the Gulf side, and you got the cool Atlantic sea breeze coming in. Clash. You get thunderstorms.
And we get the same thing up here. It's not as pronounced here because it's mainly the sea breeze coming in. It's going in against just heavy warm air.
Right.
It's not coming up against the breeze coming off the Gulf.
Right.
So it's one of those things that it's a lot more pronounced down in Florida than it is anywhere else in the world.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of that too, speaking of that occlusion, right? Out of all places in the world, I read this the other day. LA was hit by a fucking tornado.
Yeah, it was. They said it was the strongest tornado they've had in like 60 years or something.
When I read that, I had to read that again.
Yeah.
Right, and I'm like,
it's no different than tornadoes in New York City. How often do you see that?
No, zero. Right, but here's the thing, right? We were talking about the La Nina, El Nino. That's not out there this year.
The El Nino is forming, like I said, it's forming off the coast of Peru, I believe it is.
Yes.
That is where it normally forms, and it is deepening quickly.
Yeah.
Which means that those of us on the East Coast and in the Gulf of Mexico need to start kind of getting our little goodies together just in case we have to evacuate.
Yep.
Because that means it's going to be a decent storm. And they said it's not going to be out of the ordinary, but it will be decent. You don't get a lot of that with the La Nina patterns. You get it with the El Nino.
Correct.
The La Nina is what brings in your California rains, your flooding, things like that.
Yeah, I loved. I was watching the one lady on I think it was KTLA, the weather girl on KTLA, talking about it on the YouTube the other day. It's just like, they're calling it a microburst, bitch. That was a tornado.
That was a tornado.
Don't play with me. I've
seen the video of it. That was a freaking tornado, dude. I lived in the Dallas-Fort Worth area for 15 years. That was a freaking tornado.
Yeah, right? It's like, don't say that was some microburst. So that was a full, for someone that's been through a few tornadoes or 5, that was a tornado. Okay?
That was not no damn downburst. That was not no damn derecho, which is straight line winds, for those of you who don't know.
Derecho.
That was a tornado.
I remember when Joe Biden say that a Pinocchio. Like, no, stop, bitch! It's a tornado.
Well, a derecho is actually just a straight line wind.
Yeah.
Over a long span of acreage, basically.
Right.
First time I ever saw one, we were in Illinois. Matter of fact, it was just a few years before we moved. And it wiped out half a damn Cherry Valley. I mean, the trees were just snapped off the whole 9 yards. There was no twister motion. It was all straight line. But because it covered a span of miles, they called it a derecho. And that was the first time I'd ever heard the term.
Playing from BP.
Right.
That was July 5th. Not July 4th. And we knew there were thunderstorms coming in. And yeah, it got ugly that night. The storms were horrendous.
Yeah, that's just funny when Joe Biden saw the tornado.
Derecho.
Oh my! Shut up,
it's
Pinocchio.
Look. It's all that shul learning that he got at the black church in the Polish neighborhood with him in Puerto Rican.
You didn't go there. No, you didn't. No, you didn't go there. You didn't go there. You didn't.
Yes, I did. I had to lighten it up somehow. Are you kidding me?
You going to hell? You going to hell?
Hey, we've already discussed this, and it's already been agreed. I'm going to hell. That's it is what it is.
Right, but you know what? Back to the said topic though, right? Like,
yeah.
what now we're talking about since the Republicans had committee meetings and kind of busted that whole narrative of the southern border immigration. Now we're going to focus on the northern border.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm sorry, Mayorkas is not doing any better with the northern border than he's doing with the southern border. Impeach him.
Impeachment.
It's time to drag out the peach schnapps and the mint and the bourbon, and we're gonna make us a peach mint.
Oh man, not the peach.
You notice
mint.
Auntie's had her face done, right?
Mm-hmm. She had her face done.
She looked like she had a facelift. Of course, she lifts it up any further, she's gonna have a hairy chin. I'm sorry, I didn't say that.
Ooh. So I got a question before we open up the phone lines. I got a question, and something we can mull over in between phone calls, right?
Sure.
Here's the ultimate question: why hasn't the United States poverty improved in 50 years?
That's a great question. It's actually gotten worse. Believe it or not, it's gotten worse, especially over the last 4 years.
Yep. That's a
now a lot of that is COVID.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, a lot of that is COVID from the last 2 years. 3 years now. But our poverty levels are increasing. Look at the number of homeless.
Mm-hmm.
They've been increasing for 10 years.
At least.
Yeah.
At least. That's something that, that was supposed, let me say that supposed to have gone away with the whole Civil Rights Act and the Fair Housing Act, right? Those are the Great Society Act, right? Was supposed to solve these poverty problems in the 60s. Yet they have all exacerbated the poverty problem. Yeah. Right? Because here's the thing, right? Here's the real screwed up thing about it. Poverty and race both go together, right? Your race pimps are poverty pimps.
Pretty much, yeah.
Because what they do, people in poverty, right? They are less politically educated. With that's almost by default true, right? That is almost by default true, right? So what they do, they prey on these people. Now, here's I know where you're going at there, but see, here's where they get educated. They get educated with the wrong shit. They get educated, right, with the incorrect. What would be, you know what I'm saying? Political. What will be politically correct or financially correct, right?
Okay, and you look at it. If you're poor, what are your news sources? You can't afford the internet, so what you going to watch? You're going to watch the local news, right? Mm-hmm. So you're getting your news from media sources, and the media sources right now, they're feeding you a line of propaganda.
Yes.
And they have been for years.
Yep. So they're educated, but I would say they're not fully educated. And when I say fully educated, I mean educated on both sides. They're only fed one narrative.
Agreed.
And they say, just like I say again, right? Just like I say about CNN. What is my acronym for CNN? What does that mean? Conning Negroes Nightly. That's it. I mean that wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
Right? Because, again, quote unquote, I don't see many so-called Negroes, right, watching Fox or Newsmax or America's Voice, right? I don't see them or talking about watching The War Room, right? They're sitting there talking about clapping, oh, Joy-Ann Reid, oh, Whoopi, oh, Joy Behar. This is what I see on a daily basis. Their perspective has not been broadened unbiasedly, right? Because they'll tell them, as we feed you this bullshit, remember the bullshit on the other side is worse. Don't even touch that bullshit. Our bullshit's the best bullshit.
Yeah. Don't listen to them because they're going to lie to you.
Right. So the people in poverty, right? A lot of the people in poverty, like you said, their news sources, the local news, through their telephone or through their television on digital, right? And they're being fed Operation Mockingbird talking points. So everywhere they go, right, now they have confirmation bias at the jobs they work because they're watching the same thing.
Yeah, because of course CNN is all over the place on most of your public TVs.
Yes. Airports.
Bus stations, medical offices, hospitals.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. That's how they own you and indoctrinate you.
Yeah.
Right? We gotta. So let's see here. So we got a call on the line here. Yeah, we got a call line 541. Make sure. Hey, first of all, make sure the phone number 563 999 1708. Again, 563 999 1708 is the number. Go ahead and call in with your comment. If it's on the last question we asked, why hasn't U.S. poverty improved over the last 50 years? Or the TikTok ban you want to talk about, or whatever we talked about tonight, come on through. First caller, 541. Miss Marlene, how you doing?
Hi, Rod. Hello, Cal.
Hey, honey.
Well, hey, as far as the, you were talking about that question you just asked, these are just my really brief thoughts. I think that the younger, they've been indoctrinated and not educated.
Yeah.
And I agree with you too, Rod, that they've only been, in other words, what they've been given is one side. They don't get the other side.
Right.
And I also believe that money does not help everything. It doesn't help anything. You shove more money at the problem. That's what the left does every time they turn around. They shove more money at this and that program, the other program. It's like, that doesn't help.
Right.
The other thing, and this is something I've seen in my own extended family, that poverty is generational. In fact, I have some family members on one side of my father's side who are kind of in that boat, and their kids they're growing up the same way. You know?
Okay, but our government has basically enforced that.
Right.
Our government has enforced that. They have encouraged it. Let's say.
I can see that. Yeah, they have. I hadn't thought of that angle, but you're right. They have encouraged it generationally, definitely. And as far as banning TikTok, I didn't get it on most of the conversation, but I don't know.
What's your opinion?
Says, yeah, I think that, I don't know. I'd like to see it banned. However, if it is going to stay open, I would like to be assured that the Chinese Communist Party is not spying on us. I mean, they are anyway, but what I'm getting at is that for a while they told some of the military people that they couldn't have TikTok on their cell phones. So, I mean, I'm not on there just because I choose not to be, but I don't know. I really am. I'm kind of on the fence.
So here's my take on it, right? TikTok should not be on any government phones, period. If the people of the United States want it on their phone, they should be free of government control to do so. Because first of all, if you are a private citizen and you have access to government stuff on your private phone, your phone would fall underneath that ban by default.
Yeah.
Right? So if a regular private citizen wants to use TikTok, go right ahead. But the federal government does not have the jurisdiction to ban an application from public consumption.
Right.
Constitution does not give them that authority. They can circumvent they've circumvented some BS to do it by manipulating the Commerce Clause and all that. But in essence, if you take the Constitution for what it is, federal government does not have jurisdiction only over its federal workforce. That's it.
Right.
Leave it for the people to decide if they want to use it or not.
Right. Yeah. So what you're getting at is the government and say the military should, those that are part of the government big bubble, military, whatever the heck they are.
100%.
Those people shouldn't have it. I don't think they should either.
100%. Even to the point, even on their now, if their personal phone right? And here's where it gets tricky, right? On their personal phone, if they have it, they can't have access to any type of government records or databases through their phone or their mobile device, because that mobile device would be encompassed in that, right?
And it would be accessible. Yeah.
That is correct. Now, if
they can't have it on their personal phone either.
Right, and you personally, I said you shouldn't, but see, then that crosses my line of government being an aggressor, right?
Yeah.
What you do in your private time is what you do in your private time. Just don't have it on any government equipment.
The problem, the problem that I'm seeing with that, with the military in particular, is you do not have actual private time if you're in the military. Your entire life is contracted for the term of your service.
That is true. That is exactly correct.
So, that's a very fine line to go on, saying it's a private phone.
Right.
So it's one of those things where that's one of those distinctions that I think that the Congress can make as far as that goes. But it's going to have to be a very, very fine line.
Right. Correct. That's exactly correct.
Oh, yeah.
So, do you have anything else for us, Marlene?
I guess one thing real quick, and then I will get off, and hopefully there's somebody else coming after me.
There is.
Good. Okay, real quick. I didn't know this, but I guess apparently today's the anniversary of Obamacare. I just kind of want
yes, it is. Yep, yes, it is.
That's horrible. Yep. And I was,
the devil.
I hate that. I hate it.
The day the United States plunged further into fascism.
Yeah, right.
Bingo. Yep.
And stayed there.
Yeah, right. We stayed there too.
We're still there. I hate it. Okay, guys, I'm going to get off so that others can get on, but I just had to plug my 2 cents there for a couple minutes.
All righty.
All right.
Alrighty.
Okay, have a great weekend, Marlene.
You too, Cal. Bye.
Hugs, honey.
All right. Next caller, 270. We already know who this be coming through like Kung Fu. What's good, Rico?
Yeah, I'm the freak of nature. I'm calling in.
All right.
Oh, I want both of your honest opinions. I believe Trump's going to run, but Trump is going to lose by corruption.
By corruption?
I believe that doesn't matter who is on the Republican ticket, we're going to lose no matter what. Simply because of a few states. Because they're not fixing Arizona, they're not fixing Georgia, you're not fixing Pennsylvania, you're not fixing Wisconsin.
Right.
Yeah.
You're not fixing all that. You're not fixing Nevada.
You're sure as hell not fixing Illinois or New York.
Right.
You're not fixing. You can't fix these places.
Right.
Because it only takes a single county precinct to destroy an entire state.
Yeah.
That's all it takes.
Well, look at Maricopa County.
That's all it takes. I'm looking at, was it Warren? Is it Warren County? I forgot what county it was. The county that the city of Houston is in.
Oh, that's, oh God, I know what you're talking about. I can't remember the name. Harris County. Harris County.
That's right.
Yeah.
Harris County. That's right. And I got a feeling, there's so many corrupt people there that they're going to, there's 3 corrupt cities already in the state of Texas. And it's only going to take one of them. They've learned
it's the same
thing. Things from the.
It's the same thing in Fulton County in Georgia, or Gwinnett County.
Same thing. Franklin County here is probably going to. I think Kentucky's going blue.
Yeah.
Based upon some of the things that I've seen, because he's trying very, very hard. Andy Beshear's trying very, very hard to get voting without ID, which doesn't make sense.
No,
and
it
he's
doesn't.
also he has made it monumentally hard to get an ID as well.
God.
So he's telling his, because he used to be able to walk down to any place that had it, right? Now they've regionalized the DMV, and on top of that, you have to, for some places, you can't walk in. You have to call, tell them you're coming. Okay? And then on top of that, you still have to wait in line when you get there. You can't pass the line even though you got an appointment.
God.
And
that's insane.
Nuts.
That is nuts.
Yeah, and then there's people that simply can't do that because they need to coordinate a ride and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these people have got, they got the they got the transit stuff that's going on, so they can get back and forth. And people have asked, hey, can you guys take me? How much would it cost? And they're talking $150 each way, so $300 just for that.
That's insane.
But I'm just saying, it's much harder to get an ID in the state because of what Andy Machine has done. I believe it's a clear attempt, so he can convince people. Yeah, it's hard to get IDs in the state. I've made it that way, so we got to let everybody who's in this state vote.
And see, whereas most of the other states are making it a lot easier, he's making it harder. That's insane.
Yeah. Well, he's a Democrat.
Well, true enough.
Yeah, we were unfortunate to, elect him. They counted it twice and they got the exact same amount. So, I wish I could really complain about that. It's just, I think Kentucky's going to go corrupt next time in 2024.
And I have to be honest. I have to be honest, though. It's not just Kentucky. It's also a lot of other states that are going to be turning as well.
I think Texas is going to. If Texas goes, it's all over.
Yeah, pretty much, and I would agree with that.
Yeah, and I don't understand why people don't want to talk about Civil War, because what they're doing is a prerequisite to Civil War. There's no doubt in my mind that they are not following the law. Okay, they're arresting people that are following the law. They're destroying lives every which way and one. They're trying to kill off the entire white society. It seems like, with fentanyl and a whole bunch of other stuff. Not to mention the crime that's coming across. And they say, well, yeah, they talk about how the illegal aliens are committing less crimes on percentage-wise than the citizens are. I wholeheartedly disagree with that.
I do
if they weren't here, there are lives that are being destroyed. Lives. It's going to be up to the point where everybody has been impacted by a death. Within every 4, 5, 6 families. That's what it's going to be. But it's going to be affected by some kind of crime, some kind of death, fentanyl, something.
But you know what, though, Rico? Here's the take, though, right? I mean, we can entertain the Civil War argument a second, right? But who are we warring with?
Exactly.
Right? That's the question.
It's basically the Democratic Party and the rhinos. That's it.
No.
And who has ever assigned themselves like to the FBI and all that stuff?
Okay, watch this.
It's not the people, because I don't think the people would want to fight against that.
Right. So let's go back in history a little bit. Who were the aggressors of the American Civil War? Who was the aggressors? Who was the actual name of the actual belligerent? The main conspirator?
North or South, right? So
the United States government.
Right.
They are also the aggressor in this case. We wouldn't want to fight the people. We have to fight the government.
Yeah.
And if we got to go through, if we have to go through people to get there, then you're just collateral damage. Right. And that's the
right.
problem with a lot of civil wars, like this one in Syria I was talking about earlier, right? They have the people and countries are backing these rebel groups instead of going after the government. They have them fighting the people. And that's why this civil war will continue, just like the one with the Houthis and Saudi Arabia, right? And Yemen, right? Same thing, right? They're not accomplishing anything but killing people and laundering a little bit of money on the side to get more weapons and send back to their families in their respective Middle Eastern countries, right? We got to go for the head of the snake. We got to go right down there to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. We got to go down to the the DC complex that holds the Capitol, the Lincoln Memorial, and all that, and lay siege to that. It ain't gonna be no January 6th. It's gonna be come in, y'all get out, or that's it. Ain't gonna be nobody else involved. That's how it's got to go down. Or guess what? We do what the British did in 1812. Set the bitch on fire.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it.
Didn't Canada burn down the White House once?
Yes. Canada was involved in one in the White House. Yes,
way to go, correct. Canada. Yeah, way to go, Canada. Well, I don't know.
Probably the only aggressive move they've ever made.
Yeah.
Right, but that's the thing.
That was
Things
mean.
like that were easy.
My bad.
Right, but that's the thing.
Way back then.
That's why I look at January 6th. January 6th was a mere fucked up exercise orchestrated by the government to show you, right? January 6th, as all this shit is now coming out that we didn't know, but we already kind of knew, but now we've kind of had that confirmation from the documents
we knew, but we
and the
didn't
videos,
have evidence.
right? And they've exposed that the government says, this is what happens when you try to take us over. We'll let people in, we will entrap you, and then we're going to call you liars and insurrectionists and all this shit. So you won't try this again.
The hell out of me.
Right?
That really bothers the hell out of me, because most of those people that were there, and the only reason why they were arrested is because their cell phone was there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or the bank records showed that they were there.
Yep. That's what I'm saying.
Bank of America.
But that's what I'm saying. It was orchestrated.
But at the same time, don't you forget January 6th. BLM was there, Antifa was there. Matter of fact, there were some fights going on because of those people.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yep.
And all they want to do is destroy the lives of innocent people. That's the reason. I mean, almost everything that the Democrats are doing is very destructive. We are destroying. We're getting destroyed by the Democratic policies. We are being destroyed, and sooner or later, someone is going to be able to walk into Alaska and just walk all over us. And they'll be there. There'll be armies, 1 million strong, and we will not be able to stop it because they won't. Because Biden is too foolish not to stop it.
Okay.
Right.
My question though is, how do they get from Alaska to the mainland?
Mm-hmm.
They got to go through Canada.
You'd have to go through Canada. Yeah.
Canada don't give a shit.
I don't know.
Canada would be easy to go walk all over. And it's also where Trudeau's at. Trudeau would be like, "Hey, come on in."
Yeah. Right.
You know, they could start in Canada. Say, "Hey, we're coming over. We're going to take over the United States of America. We want to have our bases in Canada." And by the way, Trudeau, there ain't nothing you can do about it, because there isn't nothing you can do about it, because they're about the size of Australia, man, as far as the population is concerned. We only got like 35, 40 million people.
Mm-hmm. And the majority of that population is from the center over east.
Yeah, and you're talking about most populations are on the coast and near the borders. That's where most of the population is. You know, because you start going up north, you start seeing hundreds, if not, maybe even a couple 100 miles between towns. You know, it's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
But it's just, I just don't understand why these people. I mean, I do understand why they're doing it, but I just don't understand why the nation just doesn't say, "Fuck you guys, we're done with this. We are done," because we need to be done with these people, because these people don't deserve the lives that they have right now, because they are destroying every aspect of life We're talking about our way of life. We're talking about possibly people not being able to have, being born and having their dreams of doing something better and beyond what their parents have done. That's no longer an option anymore.
Yeah,
no more option for your children to be better off than your parents. That's not an option anymore.
Yeah.
Then they have destroyed the American dream. They're destroying everything. They don't care about people's lives.
Well, and the fact of the matter is it's not just Democrats, though. It's also Republicans, okay? And what they're doing is they're tying... Now, wait a minute. They're tying their apron strings to the World Health Organization, the UN, NATO, the EU. They're tying their apron strings to all of these world global powers, thinking that it's going to make us better, that it's going to make us easier to control. Because that's what it's all about, Rico. It has absolutely nothing to do with anything else.
That doesn't make any sense, because a stronger, the more independent that we are as individuals, the stronger we are as a country, and the more innovative we are as a country.
They don't see that, and they don't want us to be independent. That's the whole point.
Yep, that is the whole point.
They don't want us to be self-reliant. They don't want us to be independent. They don't want us to be what we are. They want us to be like every other person on the planet, beholden to a government for everything.
Yeah, but it bothers me that we have people who don't care about the rule of law, the Constitution.
Oh yeah.
Don't care about the lives of people. These are mostly the Democrats, and I realize there's a few Republicans out there that don't give a fuck anymore either.
Yeah.
But we also have in the Republican Party, we have the people that can expose them as well. But they need backing. They need hundreds of millions of people backing them up, saying, "Hey, you know what? We're tired of this shit. We'll show you what a real insurrection is."
Yeah.
Well, here's the problem, right?
I'll use the word. Here's an insurrection against this Democratic Party is deserved. They deserve everything that's coming to them. Death, pain, hate, everything's coming to them.
Well,
they need to be strung up. They need to be put under. They need to be eliminated from the United States of America's democratic society. They just need to be gone. Because there's going to be a point where they're going to take white people, march them to the gas chambers, just like Hitler did with the Jews. But the problem is we got 60%, 65% white people in this country. It ain't going to happen.
Here's the thing, Rico. Here's the thing, Rico. The problem we have is if people like me, you, Kel, Val, folks, in the chat, Marlene, and I know Jack, he comes through every now and again, and Rocky, if we were to run for office, we wouldn't get the backing like, say, a Trump would. Right?
Exactly.
Because people are to beholden, right? Here's sadly to say about our political landscape in the United States, none of them care to fuck about liberty. They care about the namesake that they're going to put their name in the hat for, right? It's Trump this election, right? What's it going to be in 2028, right? What's it going to be in 2032, right? Down the road, right? People are looking for a namesake to identify with instead of identifying with liberty, right? When people start identifying with liberty, people like me and you that are having these conversations on a weekly, if not nightly basis, for me, sometimes it's an hourly basis, right? When people start catching on to that and understanding that the political parties in power are the big man Trump or Joe Byron or any of them Cedric Raymond or Hakeem Jeffries or Mitch McConnell or Rand Paul, devoid all of that. Because they're not really talking about liberty. I mean, Rand Paul, I give him credit. He does talk about liberty. But anyway, that's neither here nor there, right? When they realize the common folks like me and you are talking about this and trying to make that change, and it's not and it's not bubbling up to the surface to the top, we have a problem with tribalism. And that's the biggest problem. We're worried about the tribe blue or tribe red instead of tribe liberty. and whatever form it comes in. And as soon as we break people from being in that paradigm, then we can get somewhere. We'll never restore liberty because everybody's adjacent to statism.
And that's in the public. On the political side, now wait a minute. On the political side, they don't give a damn about who's red or blue. It's all green, baby.
Yeah,
that's all it is.
Right.
That's at the political level.
I really think there's going to be a surge for people's firearms in this country, and I believe that we're going to see another Holocaust if we don't fight.
No, the only way that would happen.
I believe that's the direction that they really want to go.
I believe they want to go in that direction.
I would say they want to do it worldwide.
But you know what? Here's the thing, right? Here's the problem they're going to have. There's people like me and you that have stockpiled. You know what I'm saying? Well, you know what? Before you put us on a train and send us up the road, we will die on our own 2 feet on our own property before you can do that. And we're going to take a couple of y'all with us.
Now, the really funny thing here, and I bring this up because you're talking about buying guns and things like that. The really funny thing is there is an increase in the purchase of firearms. Do you know what the fastest growing group of firearm owners is?
No, I have no idea.
It's black women. It's black women.
I can understand that.
And they're not buying them to kill Whitey.
Nope.
They're buying them to protect their families. And guess what? They want to protect them from the government just as much as we want to protect our families from the government.
Right. That's exactly right.
Yeah, I completely understand that. There was some incident in Nashville about some lady had to take out his ex-boyfriend. And it wasn't her gun, it was his gun, by the way. And
good.
Yeah, he's gone.
Good.
He's gone.
One less piece of trash on the streets.
Well, there's been a big, huge thing going on in Paducah lately with the feds and stuff like that, with the drug dealers and things like that. So they've been running and hiding and all that stuff in Paducah, and you'll see a little bit of that. Some of these gals are kind of scared because now the situation has put people on kind of notice. Put the drug dealers on notice, and the gals are going, you know what, man, this is not good.
Yeah.
But that's the life they chose.
Well, and it's one of those things too. It's one of those things too that nationwide, women are buying guns. They're going and getting firearms instruction. The classes are over full. This is not straw purchases for her side boy. This is her buying a gun for her own protection.
Yeah. For my last question for you, so you guys can get out and leave. Is any of you cross dominant when you shoot?
My son is. I'm not.
Yeah, I'm a left-handed shooter, but I'm right-eyed.
Okay, it's not a big issue. It's really not.
It's basically taking your right foot, taking a half step backwards. That's what it is.
Actually, I'm gonna give you a pointer here because I've been an instructor for years. Okay, on marksmanship. There are two ways to handle this. You can either learn to shoot with both eyes open, and it is possible. I do it all the time with iron sights. Or you can do like I did and go get a red dot. It's a hell of a lot easier to shoot with both eyes open with a red dot.
Yeah.
Especially on a rifle.
Yeah.
I just kind of know where the bullet's going to go, even if I'm not on sight,
Yeah, it's that whole kinetic awareness.
In a general sense.
Yeah. I'm sorry, kinesthetic.
A little bit of awareness.
Yeah.
I can't have it. I can't have a gun low to my hip or shoot like that. But if I'm halfway raised up, I can probably shoot you.
Sure. Center mass. Yeah. The thing that my son did, now he's ambidextrous and he's left eye dominant, So it's really hard with a right-handed rifle, but he's worked it out. And it's just a slight change. It's not much. If you are right-handed, left-eye dominant, just a little bit of a wiggle to the strong guy if you're holding it two-handed. Okay?
I shoot right-handed with rifles too, so
okay.
Because you really can't. If you're down on the right side, you want the gun on that side.
Yeah, and that's what Connor has done. He's gone left-handed with it because it's just easier for him. But yeah, I mean, it's just a slight wiggle if you're doing a two-handed stance with pistol in particular.
Mm-hmm. And for the longest time, I always thought I shot left-handed in billiards, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I shot right-handed.
Yeah.
I always thought I was doing that left-handed because I didn't know. I just didn't. Anyways, I'll let you guys go.
Okay.
You guys take it easy. Great show tonight. And,
Thank you.
We'll talk to you guys and listen to you next week. Thank you very much.
All right. Appreciate you.
Hugs, honey.
Appreciate you, Rico. We got to roll out this thing here. Appreciate everybody coming through as always. Make sure if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Catch all the previous episodes of Southern Liberty. Make sure you come back here Sunday evening, 8 p.m., Chasing Life, Liberty, and Monarchy. Make sure you come here and do the things. Stay blessed. Enjoy the first weekend of spring. Enjoy it. If you got allergies, pollen is up everywhere on the East Coast. So yeah, make sure you safeguard yourself. Take allergy medicine. Even if you don't have allergies, it could trigger allergies. But anyway, enjoy your weekend. Until next time, life, love, liberty, and happiness. Peace.
Thanks for listening to the Southern Liberty Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others. Post about it on social media. Subscribe to our Patreon at patreon.bpmg.us or leave a rating and review on iTunes. To catch all the latest from Roderick, you can follow him on social media at manofjustice007. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.